Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper. Everyone's doing well today, and we're going to get right into it. So, Garfield, you have a couple of things you want to say?
Yeah, the heat's coming back. Here, we're barely out of February, and it's going to be 90 degrees on Monday here in North Texas. And if some of you guys will remember, one of the first podcasts we did was in relation to one of my fellow drivers in our center dying as a result of the heat. Now, the company's not going to say that, but this week, OSHA delivered a citation to our center for his death and several other injuries in our center. For the total was $88,000, which is not much for one of our lives, and especially not his life. Yeah. It doesn't do much to console his widow. But I'm hoping that maybe this citation will help her case when since she's trying to sue the company. There are a few bullet points that this citation posted that I wanted to read for everybody, because this is not just going to affect us. I mean, if you're in the southern region, chances are you're going to have some hot days, But a few of the bullet points on this citation was enforce the acclimatization guidance to existing employees returning from the absence so that protective measures are implemented. A lot of people don't know that the contract protects you if you come back from a long injury and allows the company to stair-step you up over the course of a week, getting you back up to full, ability.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this. The company definitely doesn't utilize it. I've had to force the company recently to hey, contractually you have to give these guys an easy day, their first few days back, and kind of stair step them to their full capability. It's only a week, which isn't much, but it's better than nothing. A lot of people will come back and they'll throw them on a route with 150, 200 stops, just like it's their first day, just like, it's any other day. And then the company will be really shocked when they, get injured again, within a week. I was yeah, because you didn't give them a chance to acclimatize themselves back to doing this job.
Yeah.
Number 2 was enforce management monitoring of daily weather reports for high heat index advisories, heat waves, or increase in temperatures so that protective measures are implemented. This is another one of those things that they added in this contract, saying the company has to monitor local weather. I mean, sure, the company has to do it, but it doesn't say they have to do anything about it, which is another reason why, we wish things had been taken a little bit further in this contract.
Yeah, and just to that, it's maybe 2 extra 15-minute breaks, during the day. I mean, anything would have, anything would have helped. And let me ask you a question: have you seen any ACs in the trucks yet? I thought not. I thought we were supposed to get them in January, but I mean, that's that. And I know there are new trucks going to certain buildings, and I've gotten calls, and Jeff, there's no AC in these trucks.
Yeah, it's I'm on my 18th year, I believe, 17th, 18th year, and I'd honestly be surprised if I see something with AC in it before I retire. But we'll see. Number 3 was enforce management continuous monitoring and communication with employees throughout the day who are at risk of heat-related illness, such as employees who have had previous heat illnesses and employees who report they are feeling ill. So that, the company needs to be checking on you if you've had previous heat-related illnesses, and they're worried about you, or they should be worried about you. They don't, because anyone that's had this happen to them in the past is more susceptible to it in the future. So the company needs to keep in touch to make sure you're okay and you're not just laying out there passed out in the back of a truck somewhere. Because I'm sure many of you have heard horror stories of customers calling wellness checks on drivers, and the police officer get there and the guy be passed out in the back of the truck or something like that. Yeah. And that kind of stuff doesn't need to be happening. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind, that if you're one of these people that is more prone to this, management should be checking on you.
No, absolutely, and, good question. Is that committee set up that was supposed that's in the contract, regarding the heat and whatnot, and a person designated to call 911. Was that ever set up in your building?
If it has, it'd be news to me.
Okay, so it hasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
Number 4, enforce the requirement that management take immediate and appropriate steps necessary to provide emergency medical treatment to employees who are experiencing heat-related emergency situations or other medical illnesses. So if you're having, and this isn't just for heat, like it says heat in there, but it also says other serious medical illnesses. And we got an email about something very similar to this in
Yes.
that came into us about a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Huh?
A driver was having a serious medical issue in his center, and he called his supervisor and said, "Hey,
Yep.
I'm having this issue. I can't keep going. I'm done." And
They ignored him.
They ignored him. Yeah.
Till 6:30.
Yeah, until 6. This phone call was made at 2 p.m. to his supervisors, and they sent him help at 6:30. And when a driver arrived to help this guy out, he was laying in the back of his truck in extreme pain. And they ended up calling. Did they end up calling an ambulance?
I think they called 911.
Yeah, I think they called 911 to get him off the truck.
Yeah, yeah.
But
after the fact, after a couple of hours, and the thing here is, I know we've said this, and we're going to say this again. We're going to say it many times as we need to. Okay, you're at that point. You're even getting close to that point. I mean, if you feel like you want to call management, but the phone call goes like this: "Hey, listen, I'm having issues. I need someone to relieve me." And if they're not, like, we're going to get someone out there right now. And if they don't answer, you call 911 right away.
yes,
If you give them the opportunity and they don't, they don't say anything, and nothing happens real quick, then you call 911. And again, it's, your discretion. If they're not answering, if you think they're taking their time, then just, go right to 911.
yeah.
I mean, you have to. I mean, we understand that certain things should be in place, but when this happens, you need to protect yourself. And the reason why you might have waited, I think management kind of makes you scared. Oh, you can't file this. No, your life is worth more than that. You call 911. They're not going to fire you for calling 911. Okay, not. And you do it when you need to. If whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I mean, does management care? No. Look. Get a file for OSHA just for something to happen, and the response from OSHA was things that the company should have been doing anyway.
It's true.
So, I mean, it's just it's crazy, and we need to, with the heat coming up, and this is why we're discussing it now. I mean, it's early. There could be some warm days, but hey, it's never, it's never too early. We're going to talk about this a lot. We're going to keep talking about this a lot, and we don't want anyone else passing out, or ultimately we don't want anyone else passing away.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
It's
And
important.
it's not even just passing away. It's not even getting hurt. Like this can cause permanent damage to you. You may live, but you may never be able to do this job again. It will affect you for the rest of your life. We've had drivers have permanent kidney damage, permanent health issues from stuff like this. And nothing in that truck is worth your physical well-being. And, this kind of goes along with, other things, people will call, and I'm sure you've all heard stories of people calling 911 on somebody following them, and it ended up being management. I had something like that happen a couple of years ago, and the manager goes, "You don't ever call 911, you call us first." And I told the manager, I was like, no. I was like, if he feels like he's at risk, he's going to call the police first. And it goes the same thing with this. If you feel like you're in distress, that you can't finish or whatever, and that you feel like this is affecting your day, your first call needs to be to 911. Your second call is to management, and that's just to let them know where they can pick up the damn truck.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm going to say this: in the Dallas hub that I'm in, there were at least 2 people, and there might have been 3 that I know of that had guns pulled on them.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not cool.
No.
That's unsafe, and that's where, you know what I'm saying? You need to protect yourself and do what you have to do. Management's not gonna save you, okay? Calling 911, is the only route you should go on that. I mean, if you really feel it, and, it's just have to protect yourself, whether it's the heat, whether it's, someone following you, important, and management should care more. Management should care more.
They should.
And, but they're not going to. You have to care about, yourself. So, this is why we bring this stuff up, and it's so important. And we're gonna be talking about a lot of this, and I'm sure more stories are gonna come up. And when they do come up, we're gonna talk about them.
Yep.
And we're gonna hopefully get, change the way people think. And we just want them to protect themselves. It's not to be, "Oh, look, I called 911." It's to protect themselves.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but,
And if you do go out on injury, that is that's an on-the-job injury. That's workman's comp. Don't worry about it.
yes,
Like, they're not going to use your option days and your vacation days at that point. You need to be worried about
yes,
getting better. That's a problem for Liberty Mutual at that point. That's not a problem for
yes,
you to concern yourself with. You
yeah,
and your family are not going to make any money if you're dead. Take care of
yeah,
yourself first. The other problems can be
and
managed.
absolutely, absolutely,
I
and,
got
it's yeah.
I got 2
Was
more
that?
bullet points I want to hit on
Okay.
this, and these are arguably the most important. Number 5, enforce policy that ensures that employees experiencing a serious medical emergency receive the appropriate first aid or emergency medical treatment despite the employee's refusal. Now,
Mhm.
some people are going to think,
Yes.
"Oh, well that could be a problem." No. If you're in that state, you need to go to the hospital. Period. And it's probably going to be if somebody may come and think, "Oh, well, I know my body." The driver that passed away last year, he made it clear that he didn't want to go to the hospital. We made it clear that, as drivers, it's like, if you're in that state, you're not in the right state of mind to make that call. He all but passed out on the floor of a business, and they had to come and pick him up because he couldn't drive the truck back. If you can't drive the truck, then you need to go to a
Yeah.
hospital. And
Yes. And
yeah,
yeah, it's and we'll post some things about, the signs, and I usually post things everywhere, about the heat, what to
yeah,
look for, just, if you're not sweating, that's a huge problem. But
yes,
we'll be putting stuff out. We do it every year, all the time, year round, and and we do it again. So it's you need to know your body, you need to know the signs, especially, when as in relation to the heat. So,
and
what was the last one?
the last one is honestly, I think, one of the best. And I'd love to get this printed up and put on a T-shirt.
Okay.
Minimize the time employees spend in the cargo area looking for packages by enforcing the company's preload guidelines.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody has the same issue. Like, nobody's perfect. They're going to have shitloads from time to time. But when you walk in there and be like, well, the person that loaded this truck just really didn't give a shit. And if they've got obviously my building has 4 belts. There's a full-time supervisor for every belt and 2 part-time supervisors for every belt. You can't tell me that they can't walk those belts and look in those trucks and tell if they're loaded properly. And if they can't, they shouldn't be doing the job.
And to that extent, I think a lot of times what happens also is, you may get other people on the box line, whether it's drivers or whatnot, or anybody, who, they're doing, and they shouldn't be on their
Well, we've
truck
discussed
if they're
that.
not on the clock. Yeah, we've discussed that, and that could be, I'm not saying it is, but that could be, adding to the problem also. Okay, so if it's, you know, it's a couple of things, at play here, and we just, sometimes the preloader might get it all, to take the hit for it, but it could be other factors also, supervisors touching packages
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, a couple of things, and it's just, yeah, spending time in the back of the truck. I mean, we know that causes. I mean, we know that's an issue.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
geez, But, guess what? If they put in more trucks and didn't put as many packages on the trucks, guess what? You wouldn't have to be in the back of the truck as much.
It's true.
So that's another thing. So, but that's, that's something we'll talk about again. But is there anything else regarding this you'd like to say?
I mean, just that I would like to reiterate the point that, we do this to inform people. We do this to make sure that people have the information they need. And, not everybody is going to listen to our podcast, but if we give somebody the confidence to be able to call and say, no, I feel bad, I need to come off this truck, that maybe that they can give that to somebody else that doesn't listen, and they can save a life. That's what this is about. We don't want...
That's what it comes down to.
We don't want people to die. We don't want people to get hurt. And we know the heat is going to continue to be an issue. It's every year is hotter than the previous one. So, it's not going to get any easier for us. And they're not going to be in any hurry to put air conditioning in these trucks. So...
No. So we have to look out for each other, and you have to look out for yourself. So, all right, for myself and Garfield, I think this was a extremely important, episode, and I want everyone to listen to this, and if they have to listen to it twice or 3 times, important, and you can tell other people, please, right? So, myself and Garfield, everyone have a good week.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.